Hello and welcome everybody to a new video. Welcome to the Pixel 7 review. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Usually I script my videos and then convey all the information to you, the audience. But this time, I'm just going to take it topic by topic. So let's start with the introduction. The Pixel has not been on sale in the Netherlands, in Europe, for about 6 to 7 years. The Pixel 7 is the first Pixel to be officially available in Netherlands, the country in which I reside. The Pixel previously was available in France and in Germany, but not in the Netherlands. So it's pretty interesting for me to see how an actual Pixel would function on the Dutch network, in the Dutch system, and among the Dutch competition. Now let's continue on to the origins of the device. Before we dive further in, however, if you like these type of videos and this is your first time stopping by the channel, I would appreciate it massively if you could smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and helps out the channel massively. A massive thank you for that in advance. With all that said, let's get into it. So let's talk about origins. The Pixel has been a unique phone for a couple of years now. And like I said previously, it was not previously available officially in the Netherlands. But I've had some hands-on with the Pixel 5 for example, and I followed the large coverage of last year's Pixel 6, which indeed was a very special phone, as for the first time Google returned back to the actual premium stage, making a meticulously designed phone with beautiful materials and very outstanding design. Speaking of design, let's get into that, as I was a massive fan of the Pixel 6 design. The Pixel 7 design further refines and accentuates the Pixel 6's design. Sure, it may be a little less controversial / aesthetic than the last Pixel line, with the colors being more muted this time, but in return, it does serve up a little bit more of class and understating. Something that is appreciated in a premium segment for sure. Overall, in terms of looks, especially the white model, which I've had the short privilege of using, is really a looker. The black one is more understated, and as for the lime green one, I haven't seen that one in real life yet, so I don't have too much comments about that device. But as for the design itself, I think it looks very well balanced while being premium. It actually reminds me a lot of the Lumia phones in terms of feel and heft. And the funny thing is that I've been thinking this a few years now. A couple of years ago, Google actually stole the engineers from HTC, the best ones working on the flagship devices. And ever since that, I think the Pixel line has really looked like the HTC flagships of yesteryear. And the same counts for this device. It really looks as if it's a high-end device that HTC would also be able to make. Again, the design of course is subjective, but in my opinion, the Pixel 7 is quite the looker, and it really stands out from the competition, especially on the back with its horizontal camera lens layout. Now let's talk about the construction of the device. The construction, as I said, is really solid, very hefty. Also, it is a little bit more rectangular than it is oval shaped like other devices. This gives it a very premium look and a very clean look as well, as the rectangular surfaces are accentuated further by the horizontal camera lens design, in which the lenses are occupied but also the flash. It makes for a very clean and understated look, especially on the back. If If we look at the design of the screen, it is a hole punch design centered at the top of the display of the phone. It's very nice, but nothing very special. What is nice is that the bezels are quite slim, except on the bottom. Those are a little bit thicker, but not to any obtrusion of such. Other notable things are, of course, the absence of the headphone jack and the addition of IP68 water and dust resistance, which is also pretty nice. The device is constructed, of course, of glass on the back and metal on the sides. If you look at the display, it is constructed out of Corning Gorilla Glass Victus. It has always on display functionality and also a high refresh rate. It supports HDR10 Plus and has a very high brightness of around between 1000 and 1400 nits on peak brightness. The display size is 6.3 inches, which isn't very small but also not overly large. The resolution is 1080p stretched with 1080 x 2400 pixels. That is 400 plus PPI for the pixel patrol, as somebody would say. I would like to close the segment of the screen with saying, like the previous Pixel, the fingerprint sensor has been located underneath the screen. This time actually I don't really have any further comments on how it was on the previous model, but I can say that it functions appropriately on the Pixel 7. Truth be told, it is a little bit more responsive on Chinese models I have tried, but all in all it isn't too bad, and it's another fancy feature accentuating its high-end status. Now let's briefly go over the internals, although these days you really can't go any wrong. This device has 8GB of RAM and 128GB of onboard storage, non-expendable of course. It runs Android of course as it is a Google Pixel, and it does so using the Tensor chip, the second generation. In terms of performance, the device is extremely slick and smooth, thanks to, I think, the optimization of this Google Tensor chip being its own chip by Google, powering its own operating system, like a certain other brand does. The GPU is a 7-core Mali GPU, which is more than adequate for even high-end gaming. I found no issues with installing any high-end game or running it on high settings. So aside from the hardware, I always like to dive a little bit more into the performance and the feel of the software/interface. Like I said, it's slick and smooth, also helped of course and aided by the 90Hz refresh rate. It is 120Hz refresh rate on the Pro model. On the Pro model, I haven't really tried that one, but I will link some interesting videos of my good friends overseas who have tried the Pixel 7 Pro, the big brother of the 7. Software and performance is actually the same as it has been on previous Pixels as well, which is very smooth and lag-free. It is among the smoothest Android phones and among the smoothest phones on the market, period, as it never stutters, lags or freezes. It really is a very nice experience, also aided by the nice haptic motor this time around. In terms of interface, this is of course Google's Pixel launcher, and for a few years now Google has some exclusive features that only you can find on the Pixel. These are of course the Magic Eraser tool from the Photos app, but also things like call screening and Hold My Call. Those two of which aren't really available yet in Europe, but hopefully soon they will be supported in our native language. Furthermore, just using the device daily is really convenient and a very nice experience. Again, reminding me of a certain Windows Phone operating system and their devices, which also had great performance and awesome stability. On to one of the highlight features of any Pixel device since the inception of the Pixel, and those are the cameras. The main camera consists of a 50 megapixel f1.9 sensor. The second one is a 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. All in all, there are just 2 sensors on this device, which is also nice to see. As usually on a lot of phones, the third sensor really shouldn't even be there in the first place. Both of these sensors are supported by optical image stabilization and laser autofocus. There's also dual LED flash. Video is supported up to 4K 60 FPS, and 1080p can be shot in 30, 60, 120 or 240 frames. The videos also support, of course, optical image stabilization, electronic image stabilization, and 10-bit HDR footage. As for the selfie camera, that's a 10 megapixel sensor. Nothing to write home about, but it is adequate for the class. It does support up to 4K 60 FPS as well. Needless to say, the pictures of the Pixel again are of top-notch quality, even surpassing that of the iPhone if we're talking about night photos. Videos, of course, is the other way around, with the iPhone still edging out the Pixel as it does most other Android devices. The most I find myself doing with my device though is taking photos. And photos during the day also are incredible in terms of color, sharpness and detail. If you're in the market for one of the best camera phones on the market, be it the Pixel 7 or Pixel 7 Pro, both of those have a lot to say in that category. They really are some of the best photo taking phones that I've ever used and that you will find on the market. Now let's take a look at some example of the pictures. Again, you can just see, especially at night, that the night mode is unmatched and unparalleled at the market at the moment. It is just incredible and really is a very nice feature to have, and a feature that is sorely missed when switching to another device. So now, with that out of the way, let's talk about battery life. This phone is fitted with a 4355 mAh non-removable battery. It supports up to 20 watts of wired charging and also has wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Battery life is adequate, if not a little bit better than the mainstream. I got an average 1.5 days use out of it, which is pretty nice, especially for the latest flagship generations, which tend to overheat when really being stressed. None of that on this Pixel, however. Especially during this review, taking a lot of photos and videos, the device did not heat up once. I like to close my reviews with my overall experience of the device, and I must say it has been a formidable experience. From the beautiful animations in the interface to the half working, half not working facial recognition, which works fine during the day when there's plenty of light, but not really when it's dark. It is just a nice extra to have. Another thing that really isn't being spoken about much with Pixels is something that back in the day we used to call content on the phone. And that means the series of wallpapers and customizations you could do with the device. Especially the wallpapers and live wallpapers that Google adds to the devices are spectacular and very nice. Very good to look at, but not too obtrusive. It also helps that now you can actually theme your icons by color of the wallpaper. And what's really nice is that if you have a wallpaper that changes during the day and the night, your icons do as well, as they follow the main color of your background. Those little touches are very, very nice to have and really make the Pixel not only a great experience, but at the moment a unique experience. They really rival my overall impressions that I have with MIUI, one of my favorite Android skins at the moment. I was never a huge fan of clean Android interfaces, but the Pixel with its smoothness and great animations and certain level of customization really has brought a change in that sense. If you want Android as Android is meant, I say go with Team Pixel. This has been it for my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I hope to see you guys in my next video. Cheers!